Once again, I'd like to welcome everybody to what is an exciting day for both the William & Mary football program and the Tribe Athletics family in general. The first thing I'd like to do is let you know some of what's coming for the members of our media that are here today. We're going to have the president, Samantha Hughey, and then Coach London all give opening statements. After Coach London's opening statements, it'll be open to questions for the media. We'll bring you a microphone. If I could just ask you to introduce yourself, the publication, and the question, we'll pass the mic around. Once the Q&A is done with Coach London is going to go on to do some other things. Samantha will be available in the Montgomery suite for one-on-ones if they're desired or asked for, and I can help you out with any other interview requests past that. With that being said, it is my great pleasure to introduce the president of our college, Catherine Rowe.
Thank you all for being here. Who can follow a legend? Ever since Coach Jimmy Laycock announced his impending retirement this past summer, we've heard this frequent and honest question. For Athletic Director Samantha Hughey and for me, our focus this semester has been our student athletes and Coach Laycock and the program. But knowing how essential the right answer to that question would be to our program and to William & Mary, we've also prepared with great care for this transition, thinking through the principles and values that would get us to the right person in this critical role. Our vision for this coach and for this role was someone who would embrace William & Mary, who would embrace the high standards that we have in everything that we do and understand how important they are to success in the role and an advantage. Somebody who would embody the character that we expect of our student athletes and the whole campus, who would bring exceptional integrity to this role and to everything that he does. And someone who would bring a championship pedigree and championship aspirations, because we expect to win and we expect to do it the William & Mary way. We have, in short, sought a leader who would boldly pursue excellence in every aspect of this program, and we have found him. It's my great pleasure to introduce Director Hughey right now to share with you the process that led to this exciting moment. And as she comes up here, I'd like you to join me in thanking her for her passion, for her vision and professionalism, and for her commitment to excellence in everything that we do at William & Mary. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, President Rowe, for not only your presence here today, but your continued support of William & Mary Athletics. You've been a true partner to our team. Since your arrival, and your support of our student athletes has been instrumental in our success. When I arrived in Williamsburg more than 18 months ago, I immediately immersed myself into learning all that I could, not only about William & Mary, but more importantly, what William & Mary represents. It didn't take long for me to recognize the uniqueness of this place. That excellence is not just a goal, but a value. That athletics can be successful on the field without jeopardizing academics, integrity, or sportsmanship. And no one epitomized those values more than Coach Laycock. His almost 4 decades at the helm of our football program will be a part of the fabric of this university for generations to come. I know that we recognized Coach on that field on Saturday, but let me just thank him again for all he has done for William & Mary, and I know that he and his family will remain an important part of the Tribe for many years to come. Coach, thank you. Coach Laycock's departure presented a unique challenge for us. Finding the right coach with the pedigree of success, with the values that we live by, who would respect our student athletes and embrace the academic rigor and would be willing to follow a legend. Thankfully, we didn't have to look too far. While I greatly appreciate and am humbled by President Rowe's confidence in my ability to conduct this search. An outcome like ours doesn't happen without the wise counsel, advice, and support of many. First, I want to thank the leadership of William & Mary, from the Board of Visitors to President Rowe, to our faculty and staff. They, along with the support of the William & Mary Foundation and the Tribe Club, make it possible to attract a coach of Mike London's caliber. As I approached this search, it was important to me that I engaged all stakeholders, from our current student athletes to our faculty, alums, and fans. I am so very grateful to all who shared their thoughts throughout the process, but especially Joe Montgomery, Kevin Rogers, Todd Stottlemyre, Sean Knight, Kendrick Ashton, Mike Leach, and Lane Campbell, who served as an advisory group to me and who provided great insight and knowledge through the process. Mike London is everything that we need in our head coach. And I won't spend the time here elaborating on his long resume, his national championship, his wide range of experiences, his unique journey in and out of football, or his connection to William & Mary. But I will share that every person I spoke to who knew Mike, whether it was a former William & Mary player to fellow coaches, from administrators to those in the know, all gushed about what kind of a man he is. When I had the opportunity to sit down with Mike, I saw it firsthand. This is a husband, a father, a friend, an educator, and a role model who happens to coach football, and who has been a head coach at 3 different schools, is a national and conference coach of the year, and who owns a national championship. We are thrilled to welcome Mike, Regina, and 4 of their children, Tyson, Corbin, Jason, and Madison, back home to Williamsburg and to the Tribe. Before I bring Mike up to the podium, though, I also want to thank the staff of this athletics department. This last week has been a little crazy. It's been a whirlwind, and they have conducted every event with the tireless work ethic and professionalism I have come to know to be a constant here. It is now a true honor and pleasure to introduce the new head football coach of William & Mary, Mike London.
Wow, this is very surreal. I stand in front of you, a humble man, a guy that stood on the shoulders of a lot of others before me, and now have the opportunity to share with the student athletes that I will be in charge of. First, I'd like to thank my wife, Regina, who I met years ago at that now Wells Fargo Bank, but it was Central Fidelity back then. That's where I met her. Coach, I was driving up through the teller, and I put a recruiting check, and she thought it was my salary, but it wasn't. It was my recruiting check, and that's what sealed the deal there for me. But this place brings back so many memories, and it's an honor and privilege to stand here in front of you, understanding that there's an appreciation I have for President Rowe and believing in me, and Samantha for believing in me as well. To the search committee, I thank you guys for having that kind of trust. And I look around the room and I see so many familiar faces when I was sitting in a room and trying to figure out what life was all about, as you guys are, some of the fellas that are here. But it is hard to follow a legend like Coach Laycock. You don't follow a legend. You just try to uphold and hold up to the values and standards that he displayed when I was a young football coach. And I know they had 400 former players and coaches and friends that came to celebrate with Coach. Wish I could have been there, but my sentiments would have been much of the same. Thanks, Coach, for influencing my life as a young coach. It's amazing that I stand here now as an assistant coach that left and went on to other places, and now have a chance to stand here and be a head coach from a guy that gave me my first head coaching job. Life is surreal. So I embrace this challenge and this opportunity to be a role model, to be a mentor, to be an influence, to win games, to do it the right way, to boldly pursue excellence, to show what diversity, inclusion, and academic excellence, and embracing the fact that school is cool. You can win games, you can get a great education, and you can compete at the highest level. And William & Mary is that place. I've been blessed and fortunate to be at other universities and schools that have the mission statement of becoming an educated man. University of Richmond, Virginia, Boston College, here, and also Howard University, where I'm coming from. I'd like to thank Dr. Frederick and Carrie Davis, the AD there, for believing in me as well. The perspectives that we all have and where we've been and what we've done in life are things that help guide us and mold us to who we are, and the standards that over the years that I've come to believe and rely on. Been a police officer. I've had a weapon pulled on me, and the trigger not go off. So I probably shouldn't be standing here in front of you right now, even at this moment. I've been a bone marrow donor and saved my daughter Tyson's life, that she wouldn't be sitting right here in this chair as well. Boys Club of Richmond, so many other things, but I'm a football coach. But I'm a father and I'm a husband before all that. Faith, family, and football are my personal priorities. But we're talking about the standards of the program for us, and everywhere I've been will continue to be go to class, because it's in your best interest to become an educated man. Show class in how you handle adversity and how you handle success. And if you're in this profession, you will handle or have to handle adversity, because I believe that forges a certain amount of character that you have. But you can also learn how to handle success. I know what it feels like to raise that trophy on the final game of the season. I know what it feels like to share in the accolades and the things that happen with student athletes that become all-conference academic players, all-Americans academically. I know what that feels like. And the last thing is treat people with dignity and respect. Because I believe that you could come to a place as my alma mater and be an assistant coach, do the right things along the way, and come back as a head coach. You could go to a place and be an assistant coach, like the University of Virginia, where my daughter Kristen played basketball for Debbie Ryan. My brother Paul played there. And then come back as a head football coach. Treat people with dignity and respect. You could do the things like become a head coach here with a man that gave you your first coaching job and role modeled and mentored to you how you go about doing things, and come back as a head coach. So I'm deeply honored. I'm tremendously blessed to be here standing in front of this room. I can't wait to get to work, to get started, to adopt and embrace the philosophies that President Rowe and Samantha have, to work with the players, to instill the attitudes and the confidence, and you guys call it swag. We still call it swag, fellas? I don't know, whatever. So I'm working on that. But to do those type of things that the constituents or the stakeholders in this room will be proud of, on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. So we're here. My family's here. We're excited to relocate back in this area. because this is home. My father and mother, 35 years, retired Air Force. My father, a Vietnam vet, having some challenges right now. My wife's mother, 92 years old, lives minutes from here. As I said, I met my wife at that bank years ago. This is home. The circle is complete. I'm excited about the challenges and the opportunities. I'm excited about bringing the quality of student athlete in football to this area and this community. I'm excited about following a great man like Jimmy Laycock and all the stakeholders that have worn the uniform or have a William & Mary degree. I could go all day, but I can't do that. I don't want to do that right now, okay? This is like game mode I'm getting ready to get into, but I don't want to get into that right now, okay? So, again, thank you so much, Samantha, President Rowe, Coach Laycock, all the stakeholders, the committee, everyone in this room. As I said, Jay Colley, I see you there. You used to have black hair, but now you don't anymore, you know. David Teal was like 6'3" when we first met. Now he's 5'11", you know. So, but it's truly amazing. I am blessed and honored. I'm tremendously honored. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll entertain questions from the media. I just ask you, wait for the mic to come to you. Chris Sears will deliver.
I'm the former 6'3" guy. You mentioned Coach Laycock. The old adage in coaching is you don't want to be the guy to replace the guy. Did that give you any pause at all, Mike?
No, it didn't, Dave. The fact that I was here for 4 years and coach, this is my first full-time job. And what I saw from Coach was he had a relentless and unapologetically pursuit of doing the right thing, of coaching your players. And you learn that. I learned that as an individual. And so what better way to as you start out in your coaching career, to be influenced by a man like that, and then have a chance to come back knowing that there are seeds of the foundation that were laid in me as a young coach to also see that to fruition. So I embrace the fact that, Coach is such a big part of what's going on here. Obviously, there's new opportunities here for the program to develop and forge a new identity, but I will never forget a man that was very impactful in my life, and I look forward to bringing victories and great moments to this to William & Mary as well.
Coach Brendan Doyle, the Flat Hat. What was it about the job here at William & Mary that really stood out to you?
Well, the familiarity. Thank you for the question. It's always tough to leave places that you've been. I had great relationships with the players at Howard, some historic wins, some things that had never happened in the program, guys that during the course of the season lost loved ones, milestone moments. It's hard to leave situations like that. But at the same time, if faith, family, and football are my priorities, and my family and my wife's family are close enough to a program that I started out at, then for me to follow through on my own core values, this was the perfect opportunity and the perfect choice. It wasn't as much as a football decision as it is a family and collectively, we've been here before, let's do this again, let's be bigger, better, greater, in all those capacities. And so it was a no-brainer to me. Dave?
Dave Johnson
How you doing?
from the Daily Press. How are you?
Great.
You touched on this earlier with coaching at Richmond and Virginia and so forth. This is obviously a very tough conference and not an easy place to recruit in terms of the academics. How do you embrace those two challenges?
You know, as I jokingly said, but you know, to me, school is cool, and the fact that there is a profile student athlete that we're recruiting, that we will recruit, that's critical. I don't want to give a particular shout out to a program, but David Shaw and Stanford have done an excellent job of having players that are high-minded academically, but are also really good on the football field. Understanding that there's a certain young man that will be attracted to a school like William & Mary, embracing that, and then finding the best that are available to come to turn your program around or help your program win football games. So in my career, I've been very fortunate to be able to recruit at any level, any place. And I've been here before, and I know what it takes. And I look forward to getting back and starting the recruiting relationships and ties that have been developed over 25, 30 years.
Mike, when you were discussing William and Mary's values, you mentioned inclusion and diversity. You are the first African-American male to be a head coach here at W&M. Important to you, noteworthy to you, or no?
Well, and obviously, there's a significance in that you mentioned that, but I'm a football coach too. I want to be known for winning games and bringing young men to the understanding that they will be husbands and fathers much longer than be football players. But I do understand the significance of what you just said, Dave. And there have been a lot of firsts in my life in this coaching profession. And a lot of times when we go through tough times, we say, Lord, please take this weight off my shoulders. And what I ask for is, Lord, give me a stronger back. So whatever the challenges are, or whatever those things that are obvious, I look forward to coaching football and winning football games.
Coach in the back here, Mark Davis, NBC 12 from Richmond.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good to see you,
Good
Coach.
seeing
Welcome
you.
back.
All right.
Obviously, you were talking about some of your previous coaching jobs, Richmond, Virginia. You saw several ups, maybe a little bit of downs too. How have those helped shape you, and how are you a different coach now than when you were here first, and even at your last head coaching job? How's that fine-tuned you, so to speak?
Sure. You know, life is about perspectives, perceptions, and what your reality is based on those experiences. And having had a chance to experience the highs of the highs and the lowest of the lows, I go back to the last tenet, treating people with dignity and respect. It's easy when things are going great, how you react and how you respond to individuals. But when things are going tough, how do you respond to that? Behind closed doors, it might be a certain way, but when you open the door, it's important to know that there are people that are out there that are waiting to see your response and how you handle those tough moments. And hopefully during the course of my career, in those tough moments, that I've handled myself in a professional way. So my perspective and perception and my reality now is based on those opportunities that I had in different places. Thank you.
Coach here in the back, Sean Robertson, CBS 6.
Sean, we'll make sure we get a hat for you. I think I know the MO for you already.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mark took my question, so I'm going to go a different direction. You had mentioned recruiting just a little bit, and I know this I-64 corridor, Hampton Roads, and also the Richmond area was big in your previous stops. How much will that be a focus this time around here at William & Mary as far as recruiting is concerned?
Well, any in-state school you have to make sure that you cover your in-state high schools and places that will produce players, and sometimes not. There are a lot of William & Mary grads all over the state of Virginia. It's important that we get into those schools and establish relationships. And it just happens to be the 757 just happens to be, well, I'm the head coach of 804, 703, and all that too now. Don't get it wrong, but it just happens to be the 757 is where I'm from.
Coach, right back here, Jermaine Farrell, WRC in Richmond. Congratulations. Such an honor for you to have this job. You mentioned personally your fondest memory meeting your wife at Central Fidelity Bank, but as far as on the football side of things here at William & Mary, what was your fondest memory here when you were here?
Wow. two. I remember one time we played, I think, Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, instead of going to the playoffs, we went to Japan. We flew out on like a 16-hour plane ride with Matt Kelsner and Russ Huseman as a big Keppa. We all had young kids, and we were like, kids, go play in the back of the plane because it was like Teletubbies and Barney and all. Anyway, I digress. Hold on a second. Let me get back to your question. But that experience going to Japan was it was pretty neat. You know, the men and women in uniform that were there, the embassy. I mean, it was a great experience. But there's one experience that happened right here on the field, and I'm going to say it. I've said it to Samantha and a couple of people. We were playing, and Coach, we were playing the Citadel, and Everett Sands was a fullback for Citadel. They ran option, and it was right on the 5-yard line coming out, going that way. They were coming out. I was the D-line coach. They run a trap, and Everett Sands runs 95 yards for a touchdown. And Coach is on the sideline saying, he just ran 95 yards for a touchdown. Why did he run 95 yards for a touchdown? London, why did he run 95 yards for a touchdown? And as a young coach, I came to the breaking point, and I said, because that's all he needed. So I was waiting to get fired at that point. Coach never fired me, because in the heat of the battle, you say things and things go on, but I'll never, ever forget that because it was like, because that's all he needed. I wanted to take it back after I said it, but it was too late. So, and you know what? Coaches, he was like that. I mean, during the course of the heat of a battle, sometimes things go on, you say things, and it's not meant in a demeaning way or whatever, but I remember the next day at a staff meeting, we were going over the grades. Craig Staub was a player here, Mark Tyler, Alex Utek, and I was waiting for him to ask me about the play of, my guys up front, and he said, Mike, how'd your guys play? I was like, oh. So I went through the grades, and that was it. He moved on, so I moved on. That's the kind of person he was.
Coach Scott Cash here, 13 News Now.
Scott, how you doing, Scott?
Doing great.
All right.
On behalf of our sister station in Charlottesville, I think I'm correct, the second game on the schedule next year is against UVA. I know you're taking them one game at a time, of course, but your thoughts already on being able to get that game on the schedule?
Well, in talking to Samantha, we, and I believe, am I allowed to say, we're going to play Stanford as well, so in coming schedule. So we embrace that. Obviously, when you're an FCS school and you have FBS, high-profile schools in your state, that's one of the games that, our student athletes would like to play. And I support that. Just don't want to play two of them in the same year. But I'm sure it'll be at the time, it'll be talked about and things like that. But my concentration is getting ready, meeting the players, and getting going right now. Thank you.
Mike, some things about this place don't change, but some things do. There was no Laycock Center when you were here. You were in the dungeon over at the hall. This particular structure did not exist when you were here. How appealing is it to come back to such an upgraded infrastructure for your program?
It's awesome. My hat goes off to President Rowe and AD Samantha because young players or student athletes want to know, what are they wearing? Where's the locker room? What does the facilities look like? And the commitment to the facilities here with the stakeholders whose names bear a lot of where we're standing and where we practice is significant. And when you're talking about an upper-level FCS program and the commitment that's made to what this looks like, it looks very much like a program set in these settings and talk about doing other things. So you're right. The practice field back there used to be the baseball field, and this wasn't here and a lot of things. And so one of the things that was appealing is just the fact that the student athletes' opportunity to experience facilities that are also talked about as far as their academic excellence. So there's a pursuit of excellence academically, but also providing venues and facilities that allow the student athletes here to also be competitive. And I think those are the biggest things.
Mike, can you discuss, I guess, your timetable in terms, you said you're going to meet the players and when you kind of move here and all that stuff?
Yeah, Samantha's got me going to about midnight tonight, so no. There's a lot of things to get done, as you know. We're in a time frame where it's also Thanksgiving, and if you embrace what this means and you have families or people that you can go visit and spend time with, I would encourage everybody to go do that, because I plan on doing that for the next couple days with my family down here. And then we get back and we talk about, I'm going to meet with the players, a little bit, some of the previous staff, some of the key individuals that within the athletic department, the team that's here. We've met, we've talked a little bit, but we're going to have more, deeper, detailed meetings as we go forth. So, the timetable is to move forward and provide personnel, insight, mindset to how we want to operate, but also get the feedback from the stakeholders here. Met with a faculty rep. I'd like to meet with deans, professors, students of student organizations, just all those things. So there's a lot to aspire to do, but that's the plan.
You mentioned staff. Will you consider retaining some staff, and how many, if any, from your Howard staff would you envision bringing to William & Mary?
Yeah, that's being developed right now for me. It's important to me that I feel really good about the people that they're going to work, for me, for this university, having relationships and things like that matter. So that's ongoing, and I'm not going to be in a big rush to fill some of the spots, but there are discussions and conversations that the goal is to bring really good coaches that fit the standard that I'm talking about how we want to operate here.
Yeah. And then one other thing, we're all forged by the hard times, and you've had more than your fair share personally and professionally. How did the Virginia experience change you and improve you as a gentleman and a football coach?
Dave, I could probably answer that in just for everybody in the room. Whatever profession that you're in, whatever you do, not even the football part of it if you're a football coach, but I'm not defined as being just a football coach. And sometimes what we do is we let things like that, say what we do for a living, define who we are. I'm a father and a husband and a lot of other things than just a football coach. We live in a world where we keep score. I get it, and I understand that. But if I allowed myself to just create my self-worth on what I do, then I lose perspective on who I am. And so that opportunity obviously allowed for some great moments as well, but also, as was talked about, the clarity and the perspective and the perception and the reality of things, that also brought a reality to me as well. So this is a great profession. We have a chance to influence young men's lives that sometimes, from their own circumstances, that wouldn't be affected unless you actually spent time. People don't care about how much you know till they know about how much you care. And so those things are the things that you pour into individuals become the things that become, that's why I love coaching. And the stops along the way, as you mentioned, they're good times, they're bad times with it, but the consistency of what does it look like, and hopefully that's what we're going to do, fellas, is be able to win games, be strong in our community around here, and then do it the right way. And I've always done that, Dave. You've known me for a long, long time. I'm going to continue to keep doing that.
And then has it dawned on you that if you coach here as long as Jimmy did, you'll be 97 when you retire?
Wow. Now, if I could get on the other side, a building built on the other side like this, it'd be great. But no, like I said, longevity, it's amazing what coaches done and accomplished, and it just doesn't happen like that anymore, And my hat goes off to them. And again, there's an honor and a privilege that I feel about this opportunity that it's not looked over or looked at lightly. So I embrace it.
You got the, I guess, the early period rapidly approaching. Any idea what that's going to look like? And I don't even know how many commitments they already had.
Obviously, recruiting is first and foremost. You know, getting the list of the recruits, the committed guys, some guys that I know that are still out there. That's important. You know, accumulating talent, the right kind of talent, is critically important to the success of any organization, and that's what we're going to do once I start getting the staff in place and sending guys out. I'll be out on the road myself, try to have home visits, and also, recruiting weekends. That's next weekend. So we're going to try to do everything we can to make sure that they're up front and we're present about where we are and be intentional about the young men that we want to recruit.
Thank everybody for their time in coming. Coach London, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your time. We're going to move Coach London on to the next thing on his agenda. And thanks, everybody, for being a part of this great moment.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.